Guys, I swear this is not an Oscars channel, you have to believe me. The 2025 Oscar ceremony has officially aired, and I thought it was pretty solid. The past two ceremonies were all-timers in terms of wins and speeches, but they were being held down by just the most boring choice for a host. I don't even hate Jimmy Kimmel like that. He is nowhere near my most hated talk show hosts list, but man, is Conan a breath of fresh air. I guess let's get the non-award stuff out of the way. Conan was incredible. An actually funny host who seems to actually enjoy movies should not be this novel of an idea, but here we are. Conan understands the art of self-deprecating humor, and some of his bits actually had me cracking up. The opening stuff was hilarious. The Carla Sofia Gascon bit, holy shit, I did not think they'd let him do that, but it was incredible. The Adam Sandler bit, hell, any of his jokes about the movies and nominees, all gold. His song is stuck in my head, and even the jokes that felt like something Kimmel would say are just much more charming when Conan says them. When Kimmel jokes about long movies, it's annoying. But when Conan says it, you can tell he means none of it because he genuinely seems to have liked the movie. Again, let the Oscars be hosted by people who have a passion for the art form. When Conan makes jokes about not letting the show go on too long, it feels like he's just goofing and doesn't really care. That's key. Also, the ceremony ended up being 3 hours and 40 minutes. Whoops. Besides Conan, I do think the rest of the performances were pretty weak. Cynthia and Ariana's singing was a pretty solid way to open the show, and I look forward to seeing them perform the two original Wicked songs next year, assuming that they didn't perform the nominated songs this year because they knew how ass they were. Besides that though, I don't know, the James Bond tribute was so random. I thought they would maybe announce the next Bond, but no, they were just doing whatever. The In Memoriam music choice was baffling. I have no idea what they were thinking. And the ITVX coverage during the ad breaks was so annoying. It was hosted by this guy who I've never heard of, but my friend knew him, so I guess it's probably a British thing. But he had not seen like any of the movies, and the lady who had seen them just had the worst takes I've ever seen. Anytime a good win or something funny happened, it cut to her like, I don't know, I found it a little too much and overrated. But then the one movie she was willing to defend was fucking Emilia Perez. On that note, might as well start with that abomination. While I obviously don't like the movie, I do think that having a villain makes award shows significantly more fun. So I guess if Emilia Perez accomplished one thing, it was making international feature an exciting category for once. Every year it's the most obvious category of the night. Since Rome was a win in 2019, there has always been one Best Picture nominee in the bunch, with the only exception being Another Round, which still had a director nomination. I believe that being nominated in Best Picture should count as an honorary win and disqualify you from being nominated international, but I'm not in charge. Anyway, with there being two Best Picture nominees in international this year, I'm Still Here's win was one of the most hype moments of the night. I was cheering in my seat. This is an amazing movie and it absolutely deserves this award, and it would not have been nearly this exciting if Emilia Perez was not as terrible as it was. As for Emilia Perez, it went home with Best Original Song and Best Supporting Actress, both of which were very predictable. At least the better song won, but if they weren't going to give it to Sing Sing, which should have had it in the bag, giving it to Diane Warren may have been a better pick if we're being real. I do find it funny that she's going to get nominated for every ceremony for the foreseeable future and never win once, but I also think her win is inevitable, and this was the worst batch of songs in a good while, so this may have been the year. Zoe Saldana won for a performance I don't like in a movie I hate, but her speech was at least kind of heartwarming, so I'm just gonna pretend that she won for Avatar and move on with my life. It was also funny that she praised the Spanish language when the director of her movie was shitting on it for no reason. The other supporting win went to Kieran Culkin. I hate that we basically have 4 lead performances winning this year, but I'm also not gonna act like seeing Kieran Culkin win an Oscar is not satisfying as shit. I thought his speech was both really funny and also the epitome of what more can I say after I've already given a speech at every precursor. And seeing Jeremy Strong teary-eyed warmed my cold, dark soul. During Everything Everywhere Sweep 2 years ago, I remember being a bit disappointed that so many great Best Picture nominees went home with nothing. In an ideal version of that ceremony, Banshees would have at least won Best Original Screenplay. Same thing happened to Kills of the Flower Moon last year. This year, the only Best Picture nominees that went home empty-handed were Nickel Boys, which only had one other nomination, so not like it had many chances, and A Complete Unknown, which I am not heartbroken over. Conclave won Best Adapted Screenplay, very deserving in my opinion. The Brutalists took Actor, which I'll get to, Cinematography, which I'm super fine with, and Score, which it super deserved. I would have gone Conclave on Score, but I do believe that this is the more satisfying winner, especially with challengers not being nominated. Plus, I really liked having a live band play the nominated soundtracks, and they honestly nailed the introduction of all the technicals. Giving categories like costumes the Fab Five format is great because it gives lesser known people recognition, and I like that we got clips for non-acting categories. The makeup win for The Substance was probably the most deserving win of the night, to be honest, and Wicked got production design and costume design, both of which I think it deserves. Wicked's performance overall just makes me super curious on whether For Good will be an Academy darling, or if it will get the Dune 2 treatment. Speaking of, My Baby Girl won Best VFX and Best Sound. Similarly to Best Score, while it was admittedly my second pick for VFX, I do think this is a more satisfying win. Plus, Rachel Zegler, my beloved, gave out this award, so it was like a late birthday present for me. I got really convinced last second that A Complete Unknown would win sound just to piss me off, but the Academy thankfully made the right decision. Dune has amazing sound, and with its 2 wins being identical to Two Towers wins, I'm hopeful that Messiah will sweep once more, especially since it releases during December. I wish it also won cinematography, but oh well. Tell me why I convinced myself it would win Best Picture for a second at the end. The shorts were honestly picked at complete random this year. I got 6 categories wrong, and 3 of them were the shorts. I don't have any problems with In the Shadow of the Cypress winning. It's probably my 3rd favorite in the category, and it's still pretty solid with a phenomenal art style. I didn't watch the documentary shorts, and so I have nothing to say about that one. I'm Not a Robot winning was just confusing. I think it's fine. The live action shorts this year have 2 that are pretty alright and 2 that are pretty mid, and I'm Not a Robot is just the okay one in the middle. A B tier execution of an S tier premise. And the features, oh man! I haven't seen No Other Land, but I know what it's about, so I was rooting for it hard. I'm so happy it won. I'm so happy it got the applause that it got. The speech was incredible. The fact that this is an Oscar winner gives me hope that the Academy is changing from the way it was a year ago when they were acting shady about Jonathan Glazer's acceptance speech. I wish Gal Gadot presented this award like originally announced, but she can go fuck herself. Free Palestine. Animated feature, oh boy. If you told me a year ago that Pixar will release a sequel that would go on to become the highest grossing animated movie of all time, and it will lose not to the super acclaimed DreamWorks movie that managed to get nominated in sound and score, but to a fucking independent studio film about a cat that has no fucking dialogue, I would have called you insane, spit in your face, threw you down the stairs, and bash your head in with a Mesopotamian mace from 2450 BC. Flow winning is the biggest animation in cinema W I have ever seen. It's a sign that the voters are starting to take animation more seriously. Even the last 2 years, when more artistic and mature films beat out the popular kid-oriented ones, they had big names attached to them that you could justify as the reason. But this? No. This is proof that the people in charge are genuinely starting to value the medium. Flow isn't even my favorite animated movie of the year. Hell, it's my least favorite of the nominees, but I am delighted to see it get the award. Just like last year when my favorite of the nominees lost to my second favorite, and like the year before when my favorite lost to my third favorite. I do not give a shit when my favorite in the category loses, as long as it loses to a movie that challenges the notion that the Oscars do not take this category seriously. If amazing kids movies like Across the Spider-Verse, The Last Wish, and The Wild Robot lose to movies that are more mature and aren't just the movies that the voters' kids liked, be my fucking guest. Memoir of a Snail is my favorite animated movie of last year, and it would have been an equally cool pick as an R-rated animated movie, but that's negated by the fact that this is the first time since the addition of this category that Disney has lost the award 3 years in a row. They came close twice, but man, what makes me even happier than seeing a great lower budget film win is seeing Disney lose. I can only hope that this streak lasts as long as possible. Adrien Brody beat Timothée Chalamet for Best Actor. Now I have said that this would be a very underwhelming win for Timothy's fantastic career, and neither of them were my pick in the first place, but I do think I like Timmy's performance a bit more than Brody's, and it would have been so satisfying to see Chalamet take over Brody's record as the youngest winner of the category, especially after his SAG speech, which I really respected. Adrien Brody is great in The Brutalist though, so I can't be too mad, but man was that speech needlessly long. It was apparently the longest speech in Oscars history, and like, yeah, I felt it. He didn't even say anything that noteworthy. When he cut the music off, it was actually a pretty baller move, but like, he didn't justify it at all, so it's just kind of obnoxious now. Especially since the speeches for the Dune wins were cut so short that one, the guy has never even got to speak, which was so disrespectful. And that brings us to our last 5 awards, which all went to Anora. Mikey Madison winning Best Lead Actress was probably my biggest disappointment of the night, which is saying something because she is phenomenal in Anora. Demi Moore, like I've said, is my performance of the year, and I was so rooting for her. And even Fernanda Torres would have been a satisfying as fuck win, but I'm not going to pretend that Madison is a bad pick. Unlike Supporting Actress, in which Da'Vine Joy Randolph is currently sandwiched in between 2 terrible wins, Best Lead Actress is maybe the best acting category. It's the only one that provides consistent competition, which makes it so fun to get invested in, and the competition is always between some of the best performances of the year. Demi Moore is the winner in my heart, but I'm beyond thrilled for Madison. Sean Baker broke the record for most awards for one person for a single movie, since he won for writing, directing, editing, and producing the film. Since Anora isn't the year-defining mega grand movie that Oppenheimer and Everything Ever All at Once were, it winning Best Picture and breaking this record feels sort of underwhelming, but that being said, I do much prefer having genuine competition and excitement over having one movie fade to win for months prior. Plus, awarding smaller films is very good for the industry. It's certainly not a bad choice for editing, but it did kind of reveal the fact that it would take picture once it happened not too long into the show. As much as I love A Real Pain, it does have its shortcomings, so Anora was also my pick for original screenplay, and I'm glad it won. I don't really get directing. It's not bad, but it's also not the aspect of the movie that you leave thinking about. I would have been fine with a picture without director win. The speech was really good though. I was curious what he would say after already giving 2 speeches, and using it to hype up movie theaters is so fucking based. The movie theater is a sacred place, guys. It's where magic becomes real. It's where you can feel anything. It's my favorite place in the world. Oh my god, I love movie theaters. Also, why did Tarantino edges with the announcement? And why'd they put director before actress? And lastly, it is one of my favorites of the year, so I'm very okay with it winning the big award. It's not gonna go down history the same way the past 2 winners will, but we will look back on and think, oh yeah, Anora won. What a solid choice. And if that's a trade-off for getting a genuinely exciting year that manages to make fucking international feature film one of my top 3 most hyped categories of the night, then so be it. Emilia Perez got 13 nominations, Wicked got 10, and Dune got fucked with 5, and they all tied at 2 awards, and they all beat out Conclave's 1, which was the second likeliest Best Picture winner. Shit's wild. The Wild Robot was one of the most praised animated movies of the decade, and not only got 2 other nominations, but it lost all of them. One of the best movies of the year completely lost all momentum, then picked it up 3 weeks before the ceremony and won Best Picture. At the end of the day, you win some and you lose some, and it's kinda fun either way. Solid Oscars, I cannot wait for next year's, and I'll see you all after I see Mickey 17 this weekend.